Hello, soul listeners. I'm Aura. Welcome to A Twin Flame Journey, a podcast on twin flames. For more videos, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So, for this collective message, and I feel like I'm connecting with a masculine energy, and I do feel like they have overcome a lot of anxious energy. It's a nervousness, but it's also an anxious energy, but they do feel as if they're very tall and maybe even close to like 6 foot. But this could be like actuality, like they're really actually this tall, or I do feel like this could be in fact how they are viewed, because I feel as if there's a lot of people that respect this individual. Like they look up. I see somebody very tall, but I also see another individual sort of looking up at them. And I'm also hearing they could have been adopted, or maybe even throughout the years they could have felt a strange connection with their family, something that they can't really describe, where they have felt singled out to some degree, not feeling like their efforts or any type of milestone or accomplishment in their life was noticed, appreciated, recognized, rewarded to some degree. But it's almost as if they are a stranger or an outsider in their own family, which is pretty unfortunate. But they have indulged in, to some degree, some type of addiction, or it feels like in their younger years there was this rebellious stage as well, like even during their 20s, early 20s. But they regret something very specific, and what they really regret is what they had said to their counterpart, and it was kind of very distinctive, somewhere along the lines of "I never want to see you again," or very very close, very similar. But I feel like this might have taken place maybe a year ago, or maybe there was this time that had passed, and it was a long time, but then communication sort of started up again. But then there was this long period of silence. And I'm also hearing the term tall, dark, and handsome, and I do feel like this is how a feminine energy has described the connection, or maybe even sort of how they referred to this connection to some degree. And they described them in this matter because it was like love at first sight, and it was very mysterious to them. They couldn't understand the attraction at first, but it was like when their eyes met each other, it was undeniable. Even though there was this giant elephant between the two of them, nothing was ever spoken. And perhaps it felt a little bit awkward, and like words were left unsaid. A lot of words were definitely left unsaid, but there was this initiation and being physically attracted to one another, obviously, but it was almost like there was the follow through aspect of it did not happen. So this, I feel like this masculine energy sort of moved away. They instead of listening to their intuition or sort of following what their gut feeling was telling them, they had to move away for some reason. And I do feel like it was family orchestrated, family oriented, but it was kind of like whoever told them that we have to move, I feel like this was their way of saying or interfering with this connection. They were very jealous. Maybe it was not really thought out. It wasn't really thought out. And I do feel like after a period of time had passed, this masculine sort of figured out that it wasn't the truth. But I do feel like there was a lot of miscommunication between them and their counterpart. And I feel like they wrote so many letters, but I feel like they weren't sent. They wrote out what they were going to say. Or maybe there was this, I just keep getting that there's miscommunication. There's maybe the wrong address, or perhaps they were unable to reach this other, their counterpart, this other energy, feminine energy. And it keeps feeling like miscommunication, wrong address. Maybe the communication didn't reach them, but it's almost like they feel like there's this missed opportunity, and there have been many missed opportunities. And I do feel like this was kind of like the divine's way of sort of shielding this connection to some degree, even though it kind of it doesn't really seem that way. But it's like they feel like they have missed every opportunity to take advantage or to sort of get things off the ground. And I'm also seeing the number 1010. I'm looking at my screen right now. It says 1010 right now. So if you're seeing that number, definitely this message could be for you. But it's like they wrote a lot of things down that they never got to say in the very beginning. They could have crumbled the paper back up, but some sort of event happened and occurred, and it was kind of like the divine stepping in, and it's just something happened where these two became suddenly physically closer to one another, or the divine sort of brought them closer to one another. A job, some type of event, someone moved, but it was like this sort of had to happen in this way. But I'm also hearing maybe someone's name starts with an A. I'm hearing maybe the name Adam. But it also feels like someone did a lot of work on themselves. And after this period of time passed, like the divine suddenly stepped in and just started rearranging things, things started kind of flowing. And when this individual moved, a lot of endings happened in their life. It was kind of like they left their old life behind and they started a new one, and it was maybe in the same town or area as their counterpart, and they bumped into them in public, and it was really shocking to them seeing their counterpart for the first time after so many years apart, and it feels like an eternity apart from one another. Perhaps this is where the story begins from here on out. Perhaps this is where the journey begins for the two of you, once again, seeing yourself in your truest form. So I'm going to leave you there with these messages. Until next time, I'm Aura, and this is A Twin Flame Journey.